Hello everyone, I welcome you all to yet another episode of Thoughtful Leaders at College Dunia. So today we have with us Mr. Manoj Gaur Chintaluri, who is a marketing professor at MDI Murshidabad, and we all have him here for sharing his enriching experience with the young generations who will be moving ahead with their careers. And this interview might guide them through the path of their career and success. So, Dr. Chintaluri is a PGD from NMIMS Mumbai and holds a PGD from Geetam University Visakhapatnam in the area of marketing. He has been associated with the industry as a practitioner for 25 years. He has led sales and marketing functions predominantly in the B2C category of business. Mr. Gaur owns a versatile career span of 25 plus years, which includes domestic and international exposure of business product verticals demonstrating initiative, execution, and thought leadership. During his corporate career, he has been associated in telecom, FMCG, consumer durables, building materials industry like players like Omzest, Ariston Thermo, AkzoNobel, Tata Docomo, Bharti Airtel, and many others. His key differentiators are setting up, turning around, and scaling up the business performance of product verticals or business entities, delivering on revenue or profitability, operational targets, delivering operational excellence, building strong relationships with channel or trade partners and internal or external stakeholders. He is proficient in setting up a robust distribution or channel networks, managing and developing channel partners to jointly achieve the common business goals. Other areas of expertise include, but are not limited to trade marketing, product management, product launches, marketing or promotions, service operations, customer satisfaction, team management, and development. He believes in the power of fostering collaboration, empowering teams, driving performance, and excellence across business domains for delivering results in a constantly evolving business environment. He leads teams and develops organization capabilities towards achievement of long and short-term goals. We welcome you, sir, to our episode of Thoughtful Leaders.
Thank you, Shobha, for a lovely introduction. Thanks a lot.
Sure, sir. So, moving ahead with the interview, I would like to know that since you have been a faculty in the marketing domain from a very long time, so what do you think are your roles and responsibilities towards the students in terms of their knowledge transfer or guiding them through the career?
Yeah. See, as a faculty in the area of marketing, and I think it will be no different from other faculty, the primary goal is how do you ensure that knowledge is imparted in a manner in which student can relate and visualize scenarios. I think that is the most important part when it comes to management teaching. So what also happens is at MDI Murshidabad, the type of pedagogy what we implement for the students in the form of case studies reinforces and the think towards this direction. And as a faculty, I think one of the most important part for me would be, can I trigger a thought in the student among the students? And this triggering process is something which keeps on going. So let me share a small anecdote. I continue to have a good interest towards culture and history. Now, I realized over a period of time, in fact, very recently when I got into teaching, I thought, let me understand how this entire thing got triggered. So I was trying to relate, and I realized in my class 10, I had a social teacher called Srinivasan Madam. Okay, the way she used to impart knowledge to us, and the way she used to make us read the prose in the textbook, it made us feel as if we were actually in that location experiencing that specific history. And that is something which I would like to emulate. For me personally, I think the best thing in terms of driving my role and responsibility is the day I actually come in terms and meet what Srinivasan teacher had done for me. And that is what I was looking forward for.
Okay, so this seems that you have been associated or might be interested in this field for a very long time, might be from the childhood itself, from when you were back in school. Yeah. So this is quite interesting to know. Another thing that intrigues me is how do you tend to establish healthy relationship with the students and with the faculty members at the same time? And like, as in, how do you try to strengthen the bond what the students share with the faculty members, including you as well?
Well, if you look at any higher education institute like MDI Murshidabad, one of the key asks is you have students who come out of a mechanism who are very high in terms of their own quality. Then you have a faculty who are highly learned. So what happens is you are dealing with people with a lot of drive and energy to learn more, and somebody who's already demonstrated that part. So in the ecosystem, it is very important that as a fellow faculty like me has to be far more grounded. And from a healthy relationship perspective, I think healthy relationship will only happen in any system is when I start being very humble and start sharing a lot of things what I have and start learning from them. Because it cannot be a scenario that since I'm a faculty, I will not learn from the students. So for all you know, on a day-to-day basis, every student during a case study discussion or a project discussion gets a lot of new insights. And my fellow colleagues, they're all learned guys who have done a lot of research and also have publications. So what happens is a respect for each other, every other individual. And at the same time, whenever you have certain conflicts, how do we resolve them is the most important part. I think humility and sharing are the bedrock of this entire thing.
Sure, sir. We definitely understand this because I have been into your classes for a short span of time, and I do realize that establishing relationship between the teachers and the students is very, very important for the knowledge transfer as well as for bringing them onto the path of their career. Okay, how if we look at the practical approach that any faculty would like to take during the classroom or maybe during the sessions that they are taking. So what is the practical approach that you would like to inculcate when you make it a relationship between the subjects that you are teaching and as per the industry standard? Like, how do you meet the requirements?
Okay. See, fundamentally, when you look at, for example, me being a faculty for the past 1 year, there are a lot of new things what I keep learning in terms of pedagogies and teaching methodologies. Having said so, I think there is sort of an established pedagogy which an institute like MDI has been pursuing for a long time. And this is sort of validated by the students and the type of professionals what this institute and legacy what is produced. And if you look at our course content, constantly what has happened, there is a lot of upgradation which keeps happening. And me being a faculty who just moved in from the industry side, so my memory is still fresh over there. So when I look at the pedagogy, the course content, I realize that MDI Murshidabad is sort of a +1 scenario in terms of agility and contemporaneous of the course content. So what happens is this indicates a little different view. So what happens is somebody who passes out from this institute, I'm definitely sure will have an edge. No debate on that. And also what happens is, especially with respect to marketing, in marketing, a lot of times what happens is we expect the student to relate to a scenario. And we like it or dislike it, all of us are consumers in one way or the other, in one product or a service. So what we encourage our students to do it is their own personal experiences as a seller or as a buyer. We want them to derive their learnings out of it and also look at from a larger perspective. Because what happens is these experiences and perspectives now help him validate the learnings in the class. Okay, and they will be able to decipher the larger picture. I think this is a practical approach for one simple reason. I've been there, done that. That's a very famous quote which people use in corporate. I've been there and done that. So a student gets that experience through the combination of all these things.
Of course, sir. Okay, so what, according to you, what are the best practices that are offered by the department to the students which can help them gain the necessary skills, or maybe when they step into their career or maybe into the job profile that they wish to? So according to you, what are the basic skills that the student currently need to inculcate in themselves, and how do you think the department is meeting their requirements?
See, for a lot of students, aspirants who get into an institute like MDIM, the first level filter itself is an indication that he's ready for the market. Okay, so what happens is he's been a lot of people who have applied, and after a lot of filters, he or she has made it to the class over here. Having said so, I think like all of us have a lot of areas of improvement and continuous improvement which is needed, and learning is a continuous model. So what we do is as an institute, barring the faculty who does its teaching and the admin part which manages the infrastructure and manages the other admin related work, the campus is virtually run by the students. So if you look at, if you ask me, is MDIM an engaging campus? If somebody steps into the campus, you realize that there are a plethora of activity which the students manage, right? From a club on the finance part, a club on the ops club is there. Then you have OMILA. These are the sort of activities which are managed by the students, and you have a separate focused set of students who are managing it. So what does happen to a student when he's managing it? First and foremost is they start conceptualizing what they have to do for this specific activity. Okay, there is a certain objective what they draw, and then they do a division of work so that each one of them handles one specific activity. So when I look at this entire combination of things, what happens is they are actually in the marketplace, which is called MDIM, and trying to work out and manage this entire part. And it doesn't end there. So there, while the conceptualizing and all happens in the marketplace, which is MDIM, they need to next put it in action. For example, if they have to get somebody for a guest lecture on Fenarda, they seriously have to understand and do a little bit of sieving at the marketplace and understand who is the right fit for us. So the HR aspects also come in place over there. So the right fit is something when one becomes a manager, he needs to do it. So then they reach out to that guy. So it's typically a cold calling activity which happens. Reach out to that person and invite them and ensure that the fulfillment happens. And let me tell you, I passed out 20 years ago, but when I see the campus and the students over here with their own drive, it is really impeccable. And whatever said and done, this is the one part of it. The second part of it is each of the students, now they deliver individual and group projects in the class. Okay. And it is not that they have a choice of skipping it. It is a mandate. So what happens in the individual skills, their analytical skills are tested continuously, not one time. So if somebody is going through 20 papers, in 20 papers, he's sharpened his edge. And at every paper, they have multiple grouping which happens. So which means I may not get to work with the same person in the next class, next course, which typically means the adaptability of the student is constantly going up. So tomorrow when I get to the new world, I don't feel alien in the corporate. I don't feel alien that I'm bumping into 4 or 5 new faces, because you are conditioned on the campus, and this exposure ensures that you understand the role of collaboration, which is very critical in the industry. Second most important part, which will lead to a lot of things, is their ability to lead teams. Okay, and lastly, making the delivery happen. So there are 3 components which come in: collaboration, leading, and delivery. And these are the combinations which make them a better manager in the world. I think as a whole, that is what is the best practice, what we do.
Sure, sir. Okay, thinking about the student's perspective, so basically what we know is a curriculum that is designed, it is very rigid. It hardly changes in 4 to 5 years or something like that. So when it comes to updating of the skills, so how do you think is the curriculum strategized, and how often do you think it gets updated so that it is made more benefiting for the students?
See, first and foremost is if I look at MDIM as a unit, I think we have the advantage and privilege of being associated with the legacy of MDI. Okay, so fundamentally, one of the biggest thing what happens is a lot of transfer of knowledge, transfer of processes happen. And it is not something that while I need to wait and start building everything on. So there's a body of knowledge which is already getting transferred to us, and from there we scale up. Okay. Having said though, what we have to understand is MDI has put the test of time, and you would see across a lot of alumni whom you bump in the marketplace who are from this esteemed legacy, what I'm talking about. Having said so, in any organization, the core is the product or the service offering. Okay. And if you look at our course content, while you did mention a time frame of 5, there is no set formula in the institute. Okay. As I told you, from an outside-in perspective, I definitely saw a lot of things which were ahead of time in terms of the course and some of the content what we have been talking about. MDIM as a system is a pretty well-oiled and constantly keeps churning out, modifies and offers relevant courses. And it's a validation of the same as when you, other than the classes, when you go into our MDP drop down on the website, you will see the type of courses which are very relevant, which corporates pick up at the drop of a hat. That's where I would rest this question saying that we are a highly, adaptable system, and we keep changing. Okay, a hallmark of our this one is changing. So one of the best example is, as I stated in the earlier question, every year I see a fresh set of people. So what happens as a system, MDIM as a system, if you talk about the faculty, admin and all, we demonstrate amazing amount of flux with ourselves, so that the change what keeps coming now keeps challenging us. And when it keeps challenging, we also keep producing the best.
Okay, so moving on to the next question. How do you think you can help your students to cope up with the competition outside in the market that is being so high these days?
See, fundamentally, there are 3 aspects which come in place, which as an institution, we sort of do it pretty religiously. One is in terms of mentoring the students. Okay. Second is counseling wherever required. Okay, there's a lot of gap in understanding of both of these points. Mentoring is more a proactive approach. Counseling is something when you see the guy or the girl is moving in a little different direction, can I get them back into the routine part? And lastly, the most important part is these 2, along with the faculty guidance, become the bedrock of the entire process of coping up with the competition. As we see a lot of us, okay, till we get into a graduation stage, we suddenly are thrown into an external world. Maybe some of us have got protection from our family up to class 10, some of them up to class 12. Okay, and some of them little more earlier stage. So what happens is, once they are into their post-graduation stage, because you are next stepping out into the market where you will be at the workplace with different set of people. And one is competition over there, then competition among different pass outs of different institutes. So what happens is, the entire tempering activity, what we do in this process is through that mentoring, coaching, and the process of faculty guidance. And wherever required at times, we've also done specified student development programs, okay, which is a combination of their understanding of their needs and driving it to the health. The entire intent is, we want the legacy only to get strengthened. And who are the ambassadors for us? These are the students over here. So if I'm making it more competition proof, it is a benefit for us. And that's what we keep doing it.
Okay, so what are the extracurricular activities or programs that do take place at the campus that helps the students enhance their skills, or that helps them expose them to the real world challenges?
See, as I stated earlier, all developmental activities for the students in the form of clubs, okay, they're all front-ended by the student community. Okay, so as I told, other than the faculty doing the teaching and the admin managing everything in the back end, the campus virtually is vibrant and is run by the students. So to the effect that even the type of food what we eat, the food committee would decide. Okay, then the second is, the most important part is the type of guest lectures, the choice of who has to come. would also be decided by the students. In conjunction, wherever required, they will also inculcate and get the faculty in the group. Having said so, what happens is this puts this, while I would love to use this word called baptism by fire, because you are actually throwing them into a sort of a real world scenario in terms of simulations. You're doing them, which gives them an exposure to build up their coordinated skills, leadership in action. They are highly empowered, and the most important part is, which is a very dying need in the market today, is the bias for action. And we have seen students demonstrate exemplary style and ability to show a sense of urgency and bias for action. Okay. So these extracurricular activities culminate to these things.
Okay. So coming, like you earlier said that during this entire tenure, you did face a lot of challenges. So what were the challenges that you faced or are currently facing to uplift the quality of education that is being provided by the department?
So from my own perspective, what has happened is my own journey to come at par with the standard of the institute is something what I was discovering in the first 6 months. And let me tell you, I think I've sort of met, and at times I feel I've exceeded that part also. And it has also helped me in terms of a very enriching part. Having said so, what also happens is our MDI as a legacy now gives a credence, and we have built a standard which are par excellence. So what happens is, lot of our driving student learning is done keeping into account the student in the core and nothing else. So what happens is, not only me, every other faculty, I'm sure they are constantly looking at creative methods how to enhance and impart knowledge. And this is an aligned goal for every department on the campus.
Okay. So when you came to this college, so what was your vision that you wanted to see 5 years down the line, or maybe 10 years down the line? And how do you think, what are the steps that you think you're taking to achieve the same?
Okay. See, my journey of transition from being a corporate guy to educator has been enriching. And more importantly, it's been pretty joyful. And both in terms of knowledge, wisdom, and the financial term has been gainful. So no debate on it. Okay. But fundamentally, if you ask me, my goal is to deliver the best learning experience to the student. And what is important is this experience should help them ease into their onward journey, because you pass out when you're 25, 26 or 28, and then you have a 40 or 35 to 40 year type of career. So onwarding into that is the most important part. If as an institute and as a faculty over here, okay, how we eliminate any roadblocks and facilitate faster learning for the individual. Now, this is something what we need to try and achieve. Now, that is a vision for, I think, all the faculty in our institute, that how I can smoothen this process of onboarding, and hence he becomes an amazing brand ambassador for the institute. Okay. And only difference being, everybody takes it different tool. For example, in my paper, I would have a combination of a guest lecture, then it's a simulation, and some sort of a project. However, my other faculty may not arrive at a guest lecture, but he may have the other tools which he will use to. But our entire goal is very simple, that how do I ensure from a vision perspective, how quickly my student moves on to the next level. So if you ask me an ideal state scenario, I think ideal state is when a student from MDIM, okay, gets into the industry, and the industry feels that you don't require training, you are a plug and play model. I think that is an ideal vision which all of us would have.
Definitely, sir. And so when we talk about the learnings that we gain from the textbook and whatever the faculty delivers inside the classroom, so these are two different aspects. Like, because it's the responsibility is on the faculty's part, that how do they make it more engaging and how do they make the students to grasp more. So not just going through the conventional approach that the books teach us, a faculty also needs to take a lot of approaches or need to bring in a lot of interventions when they do give lectures or sessions in the classroom. So, what do you think are your interventions or approaches that you bring into the classroom apart from the curriculum to train or teach the students?
See, curriculum is a guiding light. So what one needs to understand is a lot of experts, and it's a combination of industry and academia which sits and decides on the curriculum. So it gives you a direction that where we need to head to. And as I shared earlier, the different tools are adopted by different groups or different faculty in terms of reaching out to their goals. Having said so, what happens is there can be different aspects in which you deliver. Okay, one delivers through experience and one delivers through the academic this part. But in that entire process, what is the most important part is, am I able to get the students involved in a discussion? See, what we need to understand in life is a lot of times there are students whose thought process will get triggered in a discussion. And you also have around 35 to 40% of the students in a class who are refusing to speak, and you do not know whether they've understood or not. But another 45 to 50 are actively participating. Now, there are two views to it. One view would say that your class is not leading to getting the 40 or 50% not to speak. At the same time, the other side of looking at is another 40 to 50% are actively participating. So what happens is people who are remaining silent also learn from these guys, and you get different perspectives. Okay. Having said so, all these tools, some of them are very situational at that point of time you get. For example, in one of the courses what I teach of sales and distribution management, I actually do a role play asking people to identify who will be their sales guys if you have to recruit from this 50 or 60 of your classmates. Who will be your sales manager? Who will be your frontline sales? What am I doing this? I'm actually inculcating their habit of becoming a strong sales manager and searching for the right fit. So these are different tools what we use. And end of the day, I think the intent is if I'm able to make his onward journey terrific, nothing like it.
Sure, definitely, sir. Okay, what do you see the departments or the institution's greatest strength, and how do you think it can be enhanced in near future?
So if we look at from a college perspective, I think one of the largest strengths what we have is our legacy. MDI Murshidabad continuously strives to meet the standards of the MDI society. So, and we've actually already made a mark in the last 7 or 8 years. Okay. Our faculty is the second strength, which comes from various backgrounds, work experiences, and research exposure. So you have a combination of faculty who are grounded in academia, who are grounded in work experience, and this melange of all these things makes a potent force. And this we have experienced on the campus. Third most important part is, while we are young, we have our alumni, the young, restless, and performing, reinforcing and validating inputs received at MDI Murshidabad at the marketplace. So just to give a simple example, today I got a call from my wealth account manager. So surprisingly, as he steps into my house, I realized that he is the previous year pass out of MDI Murshidabad. Okay, so guys are reaching places, no debate on it. And lastly, but not the least, our unsung heroes, the backend team at MDI Murshidabad in academics and administration, who are like 24/7 to ensure facilities do not give us a chance to complain. Above all these things are in a continuous improvement mode. So I would summarize that these are the strengths.
Okay, that's really great to know about the back end part as well. I guess hardly anyone mentions about it. Okay, so what is the valuable advice that you would like to give to the students to have a prosperous career ahead?
As a faculty, I have seen the corporate side largely. Okay, I mean 25 years of rich experience and now the academic world. So what is happening is, if you look at the world today, I mean, your set of generation of people, you can now start calling as BC and AC. BC is before Corona and after Corona. The only thing is the after Corona period, when it does it start, is something what we all are keeping our fingers crossed. Having said so, I think what is also teaching us is, it's very important as a student who's passing out, I would tell that he should keep on observing his ecosystem. When I say ecosystem, everything around him, and continuously update self if required. So if you have to decide whether you want to become an a dinosaur, or you want to be constantly updating yourself. That is one part. Second is have fun, build hobbies to keep oneself fit, and build a social community beyond work. When you look at a lot of the startups which have gained in the country for the last 15 years, if I would say, majority of the startups have not come from classmates sitting in the same batch or something like that. These are some things which are beyond their networks. And all these guys have had complementing skills. So what I'm also trying to say is, while work is important, okay, but what is very important is you should have the fun of enjoying that specific life, build hobbies to keep yourself physically and mentally fit. Lastly, a career is important. A career is important, and it should be part of a life. It should not engulf your life. Okay, because what is an observation among in the industry is burnouts happen very quickly. Okay, so what should happen is you seriously have to decide when to draw the line and move to your personal life also in a day. And it cannot be like this, saying that first 10 years it will be career, next 10 years will be life. After 10 years, you get used to it that the next 10 years also will become work. So it is very important. Work should be part of life. And that is the most important thing which I will advise all the fresh comers who are going out to the market. And I don't think more advice is required, because once the rubber hits the road, every day you will realize something new happening there. And for all you know, some of the things what we impart over here may become extinct in the next 5 years itself. And then within the next 5 years, your learning will be immense.
Definitely, sir. I am
okay,
I'm sure. Yes, sir. I'm sure this is definitely going to help the students out there who are listening to this. And thank you so much, sir, for taking us through your enriching experience that you have gained during your entire tenure of through this corporate as well as in the teaching line. So this is definitely going to provide the students some guidance as to how to take their career ahead or choose their career path. So thank you for being with us, sir.
Thank you, Shubha. Thanks a lot for the time and the opportunity.